It's Tuesday game week, so we get a chance to talk to the coordinators. First up, Jim Bob Cooter. Jim Bob Cooter, the offensive coordinator of the Colts, he doesn't call the plays, but he puts in place a lot of the offensive game plan. What do the Colts do philosophically to try to figure out how to attack a defense? I don't think it's going to surprise you to hear Cooter's answer, and that is that they try to put their players in the position where they can succeed best. Makes sense. That's good management.
Anything in your history in the league that you just see in week one games, whether it's with players, with, teams that have had a full off season to prep and not show anything like you see week one trend wise in your history?
The same way we've put in a lot of work over the offseason, they have too. And, there's that whole sort of player acquisition process where we're free agency and draft and all that stuff. So a lot goes on in between each NFL season. Each NFL season is very unique, which makes the opponents unique. So they may sort of have a similar playbook, but I bet they got some wrinkles. They may have some new ideas, they have some new players, and so do we. So does every team, all 32 of us. So you have to be prepared for things to change. You have to be prepared to adjust on game day. I think week one, maybe most of all within a season.
We'll go to Joel.
Hey, Jim Bob. Chris was saying last week that he felt like Alec Pierce really had his best camp so far, took a big step forward. Is that what you guys saw out of him? And what specifically did he do kind of better than you've seen him do in the past?
He's just continuing to improve. It's continual improvement, continuous improvement might be the right way to say it, but he's getting better and better. And, training camp, we get a lot of opportunities to run a ton of different routes against our guys, against press coverage, off coverage, zone coverage, man coverage. And Alec got a bunch of opportunities to go get open and make tough plays and tight plays. And make third down conversions, make big red zone catches. And shoot, he just kept rising to the occasion. When his number was called, when the quarterback looked his way, he was where he was supposed to be, and he was fighting like crazy to get open and make that tough catch, which in this league, most of them are. It's tough and tight in this world. So he's just doing a better and better job of sort of continuing to improve and continuing to, make those plays and finish those catches and sort of provide big plays for the offense. So, which is great for us as an offense, as a Colts offense, great for our team. The more guys we have making plays, the better. And Alex really stepped up as he's continued to improve and made those plays. But hey, training camp and preseason's heading towards the regular season, and we need that to keep on going for him, and we need all our guys to go make those plays. There's going to be opportunities out there to be made, and whether it's pass game, run game, making a nice block up front. It's a fun time of year to think about what's to come over the next 4 or 5 months. And Alec's done a really nice job of getting himself in a really good place to set himself up to have a nice year. Now's the time for all of us to go get to execute it. That'll be the fun part.
James.
Jim Bob, I know just covering Anthony for the last couple of years, he asked a ton of questions. Everyone always says this. So what is it like to have a quarterback who is so curious and kind of pushes his imagination a bit? Not like make-believe stuff, but just always, I know the play is this, but what about this?
Yeah, that's what you want as a coaching staff, to have that sort of dialogue with your starting quarterback where you are able to discuss the intricacies of a play. And we really try to around here be open to good ideas wherever they come from. And oftentimes when the quarterback has an idea, that's the way he sees a play. It makes a lot of sense for us as a staff to at least really strongly consider tweaking that play or making that adjustment. So to have that dialogue with the quarterback is so important, because you end up making that offense better. We're designing an offense for our players to go out and be their best self, to be their best competitor, to succeed the best on every single Sunday. And I've learned in this league, and you guys can cut this out of about 3 times a year I say this, but if the quarterback believes something's going to work, they tend to make it work. If they like to play, shoot, it tends to work a little bit better. They execute that thing a little bit better, or maybe they just sort of impose their will on that play. Gosh, I stood on the table for this play. I am going to find a completion in here somewhere. I've seen it happen a whole lot of times over the years with a bunch of different quarterbacks. So the players believing in what they're doing, I think, is a big part in having success. We're not dictating, we're not dictatorial around here where we are running everything exactly this way and we're not listening to any input. We're, guys have a ton of good ideas, and especially the guys running the routes or executing the blocking schemes or, reading the pass progressions, right? A quarterback going through a progression 1 to 2 to 3. Well, why is number 2 this route? I think it'd be a little bit better if it was this other route, things like that. Those are discussions that happen all the time in these NFL offices, and we'll have our back and forth. And obviously we have reasoning behind maybe the way something would have made the sheet on a Tuesday morning. But by the time we get through a Wednesday or a Thursday, maybe Anthony Richardson says a few notes to us and we go back and forth in the quarterback room. We say, shoot, that is a better idea. Let's do it that way. We've had many examples of a play getting tweaked between one meeting and another meeting, or between a walkthrough and a practice. One thing I think is really important is, as we're putting together a game plan, obviously we're working, a ton of hours, and we're looking at all the tape, and we're having our coaching meetings and really trying like crazy to find those plays that are going to make yards and make points. But it is a continual improvement of the game plan, of the call sheet. We're going to find a route we got to change, or a split we got to change, or a blocking scheme that we have to adjust a little bit if a defense plays a certain look. And that's going to get updated and changed as the week goes. It's going to be because of things we notice as a coaching staff, but a lot of times it is something a player says. Michael Pittman said something to us, and gosh, we were busy putting that play together, but he sees it from his perspective, and he had a good vantage point on something. We didn't take that into account. We do need to make that little tweak. So those things happen all the time, and our guys do such a good job of preparing for these games. Preparation is so important in this league that we do respect their opinion when they come to us with one.
We'll go to JJ.
Hey, Jim Bob, what did you learn about Houston's defense last year, going up against them in kind of two like distinct points of the season in week 2 and then week 18?
They fly around. They play super fast, super aggressively. I think the hallmark of a good team in this league is getting better as the year goes on, and you would definitely say that about their defense last year. Those guys are tough to play against. Like I said, they play super fast. They're physical. They're getting off the ball. They're running around making plays. They're sort of harassing the ball carriers, and I think that's what they want to be. What's what they want to be, and I would say I saw a defense that continued to get better as the year went on, which that's the hallmark of a good team for me, right? That's what we want to do here. We want to get better, month 1 to month 2, et cetera. So it's a very high quality defense. And then they went out and added some really good players in the off season. Obviously they're trying to get better and better. And, the challenge is going to be real. The challenge is exciting this week playing these guys. Obviously had some fun games against them last year, and looking forward to competing against them here Sunday.
Kent.
Hey, Jim Bob, if Josh Downs can't go on Sunday, can you run the same basic packages with Mitchell or somebody else in the slot?
Yeah, in this league, every week there's different sort of decisions that have to get made based on, is a guy going to be up or down? And we really pride ourselves in putting our players in the best possible position to succeed. So within the pass game, there's going to be things that we do really, really well. And we feel like, gosh, we have a couple guys maybe that can run that route or perform that role. And this is something that's really core to what we do. And gosh, we're going to keep doing that thing. But there are other things where, maybe Josh Downs is really special at something. And, gosh, if situation calls for somebody else to maybe run that route, maybe we make a different decision. So it's a weekly discussion. We're not going to sort of force a guy into a role that he's not well prepared for and well suited for. So these are some of the more in-depth discussions we have as a staff, as an offense, how we're going to move forward through a season, because we're going to go through a 17-game season. We're going to have injuries and sort of question marks. Is a guy going to play? Sometimes even as a coaching staff, we're sort of figuring that out as a week goes, especially when you get deep into the season. These guys have played a bunch of games in a row. We're constantly trying to, put the best product out there to have success as an offense. And I think it's really, really vital that we evaluate, who we have out there and what they're doing and what's best for our team. So it's a complex question that I'm not going to give you a super specific answer for, because we got to play these darn Texans here in a couple of days, and I'm sure they're listening. But it's part of the gig. It's part of what we got. We're blessed to have some really talented players, and we're going to try like crazy to use them for their strengths.
We'll go to Nate.
Hey, Jim Bob, I know you got a little bit of a look at obviously what Anthony could do last year, but the preseason, obviously you're not getting into the full offense. So just in general, what excites you about sort of the physical skill set, just everything he can do physically, and what that opens up for you as a play designer and play caller?
Yeah, good question. We're super excited. Obviously it's week one. Everybody in the league's really excited, but we're really excited to sort of really find out what we have this year. Starts with the quarterback, because hey, in the NFL, quarterbacks are really, really important, aren't they? So the things, for us to be able to sit around I've got this office with nothing but whiteboards. I can draw as many plays, to my heart's content, and all of our coaches really do. To have a player like Anthony back there at quarterback, doesn't restrict a lot of those drawings. We can try a lot of stuff. He's so talented that we can sort of work through different ideas that we think might be good, and we don't have to sort of restrict those based on anything with him. So it's exciting, but ultimately it ain't about the plays we're drawing on the board. It ain't about the X's and O's. Those guys are going to go play, and we're here to support them and here to put them in the best position to go play. And offense, sort of see what we got. 2024 Colts offense. Coaching staff is too, because like you said, the preseason, it does have a little bit of a different emphasis for us schematically. Obviously how we work our substitutions within the game. We're playing a bunch of different guys. It's a little bit different level of competition than this Sunday is going to be. And then, like I said, we got 17 of these things, and it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year.
And we'll take our last question from Chap.
Jim Bob, what's the difficulty, if that's the right word, when you've got Jonathan Taylor and he can break a play, first carry, 10th carry, 15th carry? What's the balance in maximizing what you have, yet not, I don't know, wearing him down? I mean, he had 30 carries against Houston last year, but because of the situation, how do you maximize without overextending?
Yeah, that's another really good question. It's something we talk about a lot, because we're blessed to be here in the NFL. We're playing or coaching at the highest level. We have these sort of unbelievable players, unbelievable athletes, and these guys are so special at what they do that a lot of times we want to really do everything we can to put them in the best position to have success, which I've said a few times today, but it's obvious. But you do have to be careful that, we're also looking at a 17-game season. We're looking at, trying to put a really good product out there every single week, go play good ball, win enough games to be in the discussion late in the year, to play a few more than 17. And it's something that I think every coaching staff has to do a good job keeping an eye on, is, sort of how do you manage different players' workloads, different discussions within individual plays or drives, or, any of those substitution things that we all have to work through. So it's definitely something that we're keeping an eye on. Like I said, we're blessed to blessed to have these great players, these great problems. These are good problems, right? How much do we hand the ball to Jonathan Taylor? That's a great problem to have, right? You know, is it a lot? Is it a lot plus even more? Is it maybe not quite a lot? I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but he's been having a heck of a camp. He's been running around. He's had great energy. I think he's primed and ready for a good 2024. And we'll do our best to try to, you know, get the most out of our Colts offense as a whole this year. And like I said, it is a 17-game season. We're going to go sort of one at a time, but keep the big picture in mind as we try to put this thing together.
That's Jim Bob Cooter. Very, very affable, informational to a point, but he's not going to give us specifics about what's going to happen if Josh Downs can't go on Sunday. How are they going to fill that role? Are they just going to plug and play another guy and run the same schemes? Or are they going to have scheme-specific stuff for a guy like Mitchell in the slot or Pittman in the slot, Pierce in the slot, somebody else in the slot? We're going to all have to wait until Sunday to find out.